Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Let's get into the chart and see what's going on. Okay, so before we jump into those lower degree counts, we're going to just discuss the two ways that we are looking at this on the bigger picture here. Effectively, what we are saying is that we are looking for the bullish count of 1, 2, in which case we've already come down towards this 0.382, so we could be looking for this potential of a break to the upside. If, however, we do see price looking to push down one more time, I will be paying attention to these lower levels here between this 50% and this 786, which is currently sitting towards this 27,908 to this 26,080 level. Now, if we are looking at this idea of this being a third wave, what we want to see is a nice strong 5-wave structure looking to push us up towards this 42,023 level. Until we actually see something like this, we need to still be cautious of the potential here that we could just see a 3-wave move up here towards this 1-to-1 level of this 36,320. Though it is not my primary expectation to see something like that, we need to still just be on the lookout for it. Alternatively, if this is not looking to be within this bullish structure, what we could see is something more along the lines that this is actually a bigger W, an X, and a Y. Now, within this idea, what we'd be saying is that we have this as W, this is X, and we're looking for a Y wave. Now, the most common target area would be the 0.618 to this 1-to-1. The 0.618 is a minimum requirement, so until we actually hit this, we need to be on the lookout that, this could be something else. Now, the alternate way was looking at this as a B into this high point. Now, if this is a B wave into the high point here, what we could potentially still see is a C wave down, looking at this as 25,360 to this 23,646 as a potential target for a 5-wave. Now, if we want to see this as a 5-wave move, what we'd be looking out for is that the potential of this being 1, 2, a bigger 3, 4, and a 5, looking to push us down into the C wave target area. If we do see something like this, what we would be looking for after that point would be to see price actually look to push to the upside. If we do get a 5-wave move down and we fail to push back above the highs, we need to be careful that this could look to extend to the downside afterwards. Okay, so let's get into that lower degree counting. So if we're looking at this move looking to complete lower down here, what we'd be saying is that we have this as A, B, and C into this low. If this is the case, what we need to see as a confirmation of this is a break back above this B wave high at this 31,822. Now, coming in more locally here, what I'm going to be discussing is the bullish count first, and then we're going to go over the alternate ways of looking at this. Within the bullish count, what we are saying is that this is actually wave 1. We look at this as a wave 2, and we're looking for a third wave up towards this 31,113. We haven't reached this target area yet, and at the moment we don't have good structure. This is still looking like just a 3-wave move currently, and we have come up into this 1-to-1 level, so we need to just be careful of this idea not being something like a WXY, and then we could look to still break down. We will be covering that within the video. If we are looking at this as a bullish move, what I would be looking for here for confirmation would be something more along these lines. We would want to see something in this case where we are saying that this could actually be 1, 2, this is all our third wave. We're looking for a 4th and a 5th. Now, we have come down to this 0.5 to this 0.618 area, and what I want to see is price starting to react from this point. If we do see price do something like this as a 3-wave move up and then come back down, this becomes very unlikely to be the current structure that I'm looking at. Now, if we are looking at this idea of this being a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, I want to see a 5th wave looking to potentially target this area here of this 30,640 to this 30,394. Now, if we are looking at this as potentially the start of a 3rd wave, we need to be aware there is always the potential we could see extension. Now, if we are looking at this, what we could also say is that this is 1, 2, 1, 2, and we could see a much more impulsive move up. So we're going to be on the lookout for this for as long as we actually hold this 29,146 area. We do have this possibility of price looking to push down one more time here and then having a much more impulsive structure up. We have come down into this 0.5 to this 0.618 area, so we need to be on the lookout for that possibility. This could start to build something from this area. If, however, we do see price form something like this as A, B, and C, we could still look to find support lower down here between this 618 and this 786. So that would be between this 29,560 to this 29,377. 1.7. If we do see price looking to come back down here in 3 waves, what we'd then be looking for confirmation would be a push up towards the 1.618. Now that would be taken from this low to this high to wherever this ends, and effectively what we'd be wanting to see is this 1618 level get hit. Depending on how deep we come here, for instance, if we said that this move was potentially completed here, then we would need to see a move up towards a 31,439 as a potential third wave. If we do not see a move up that high from here, effectively this would tie in more with the idea of that fifth wave. Alternatively, if we do look to come back down towards the 786 level, what we would then be looking for would be a move up towards this 31,194. Now the idea here is that if we do see something like this, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we'd then be looking for is this to become 1, 2, this becomes our third, we have this as a fourth, and then we have a fifth wave to the upside. If that is the case, then we would have a 5-wave structure off these lows, which would then be potentially looking to push us up past that point of this 1618, which is sitting here at the 31,113 level. So because of that reason, we do have this potential to push up here, but we need to see this confirm. Now, if we do see a 5-wave move to the upside in this way, what we would need to see for more confirmation would be a 3-wave move back down, which continues to hold the support. So within our bullish counts, these lows are going to become very important currently, and this is what we need to see if we're looking for this direct break to the upside from this area. Now, what we also need to be careful of is that within the more bearish case where we said that we could potentially have a B into this high, what we would be looking out for is the possibility that this could become either A, B, and C, or alternatively this become 1, 2, and then we see a bigger third wave. Now, if we're looking at this as a 3-wave move to the upside from here, where this just becomes A, B, and C, we have actually come up into this 30,152 area already. Like I said, I am expecting that potential of that fifth wave if this is going to be a C wave. If, however, we just get a 3-wave move up here, you know, possibly this could be within one of our other corrective counts. But what I'm looking at within this count is that we're going to see A, B, and C to the upside. Now, if we do see an additional push up here, we'll be paying attention to this 30,638 to this 30,534 area as a potential target, where we could then see this reversal down. So that would be looking at this as either bigger ABC, or if we push down towards this 1618, would tie into that idea that from here we have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the downside. So going to be watching out for this. This is not the primary way I'm looking at this, but you know, it is still a potential way that this correction could be looking to move down. Now, the other way we discussed this was that saying that effectively this is WXY, and what we were looking for was a potential that this could be a B wave, and then we see a C wave to the downside. And what we would then be looking for is the possibility that this is either a bigger A, a B, and a C, or alternatively we could still see 3 waves down, and this could be a Y wave. Within the structure, what we're saying is that this could be A, B, and then we're looking for a 5-wave move up. So if we do see this 5-wave structure develop to the upside here that we talked about earlier, if we get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we can see that this would actually push us up here towards this zone of this 30,425 to this 30,640 area. So now if we do see something like that, this would also align with the idea of coming up to the 1618 of the A wave. So if we are looking at this as a 3-wave move up here, 3-wave move down, and we're looking for this as a 5-wave structure, so making a flat correction, the idea of getting a rejection between this 31,042 to this 30,119 area is going to be our B wave target area. Now, if we do see this as A, B, and C, and we get that 5th wave, what we could then see is continuation to the downside, looking for this lower target here of this 27,798 as a possible target. If we do see something like that, what we'd be looking for would be that potential that we could either see a 5-wave move down into these lows, or alternatively we could see this still as a Y wave. If we do see this as a 3-wave move to the downside, then this would be looking for the Y wave. If we look at this as a 5-wave structure, we'd be looking for the C. Now, another thing we also discussed in the previous video, which we can't forget about, is the idea that we could be looking at a WXYXZ. So within this idea, what we were saying is, you know, because of this move to the upside over here, what we could still get is the potential that within this structure, we could have this as A, B, and C, because we don't have a good 5-wave structure here yet. At the moment, this is just corrective up. If this is just corrective up, this could be just a B wave, and we could still see a 5-wave move to the downside, looking to push us into this zone of this 28,580 to this 28,083. If we do see something along these lines, this could be either a WXYXZ. So from further back here, looking at this as WXYX, and then we have A, B, and C, looking to push us down into the zone of this 1-to-1, which would be here, this 28,392, which would align quite nicely with this 1.382 over here at this 28,389. So I'll be watching out for this. If we start to develop 5 waves down, we could potentially see a push down into this level as a C wave, and then we could be looking at this potential of the Z wave completed. Alternatively, what we could have here is, because this move is so small currently in comparison to this structure over here, and this structure is, you know, if we do look at this pushing down, this could actually be A, this could be A, B, we get C to the downside. This could then bring us into the most common area we look for an overshooting B wave, which would be this 28,861 to this 28,421. And then we could see this actually start to play out to the upside in a 5-wave structure, where this whole move actually becomes a bigger flat correction. And then what we would have here is that this is A, this is B, and then we're looking for that C wave to the downside, or W, X, and Y. Ideally, it would be an A, B, C pattern though. So this is why we need to just be a bit cautious with the current structure we get, and we do have that bullish potential here. If we do see this look to break down deeper, potentially we could look for support and look for that idea of an extension, provided that we hold this 29,176. But if we start to lose that level, it becomes less probable that we're going to see this continuation up. Now, it is always possible within this structure here that we form something like this as 1, 2. We get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we get another 3-wave move down, making this 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we look for that push to the upside. So these lows are going to be very important within that bullish count. Now, we also are moving up above these diagonal resistance lines that we were talking about in the previous videos. We're saying, you know, over here, that if we are going to see the bullish count continue, we need to start working our way through these. We have moved through these lower ones. Now, what I want to see is that if we do look to actually come back down here and we see something like this as a 3-wave structure, potentially we could look to see a retest of this level here towards this 29.4, which would be back onto a back test of this trend line. Alternatively, if we start to move back above these other levels here, we could start to see price finding support here, looking for that idea of that 5th wave, and then we could look to come back and back test this trend line. So I'm going to be on the lookout for this idea of the trend line, you know, back test if we are looking for that bullish count to the upside. Now, we discussed this as a ABC pattern. Now, it is also possible, because this move is so small in comparison to this being an A, this being a B, and looking for the C wave, it is also possible we could see this actually become something like an A, a B, and a C, and this could be W, X, and a Y as a B wave or a X wave here. Now, if we are looking at that idea, that would be the same sort of idea as what we talked about earlier, except what we'd be looking at is rather something like this, where this move could actually become A, this could be a 3-wave move down for B, and then we could look for C wave. Now, we have come down to the 0.382, which is a very shallow retracement, but it is possible for B waves to end in these zones, so we need to be on the lookout for this. If, however, we see something like this as an A, a B, and then we see a bigger retracement here, where we actually look at those impulsive ideas getting invalidated, we could still see this become a bigger A, B, and then we see a C wave to the upside. Depending on how deep we come here, we'll change this target. If we move up from this 0.382, effectively what this would do is push us up towards this 31,227. Now, if that's the case, this would be looking to push us up past this area of our typical rejection zone. And what I would be looking out for is the possibility that this could actually look to fall short either at the 786 or this 0854 area. If, however, we look to push down deeper here, what we could then see is the potential that this target would become lower. So if we do see price looking to come back down into some of these lower ranges, potentially we could see something like this, where this is A, this is B, we get the C wave up, and then that is the completion of the move as a corrective structure, just as W, X, and Y. and then we still have that push to the downside. So there is bullish potential here, but it needs to prove itself. We'll have to see whether it can do so. Now, having a look at the daily CPR lines, what we can see here is that we've actually printed a higher CPR. Now, it's substantially higher than the previous one. Now, if we are looking at this as trending, what I want to see is price continuing to hold these levels and starting to break back above the R1 lines. Now, if we are looking at this as a potential support zone, this is the 29,745 to this 29,692. If we do continue to hold these levels, what we could see is price could be gravitated up towards this zone here of this 30,300 as a potential test of this R1 line. If, however, we see price looking to push through these levels, other targets we have for today is this 30,831, 31,400, and this 31,924. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these areas moving forward. Price can potentially look to pivot off these zones. If, however, we see price looking to break down, we could potentially still find support here at this 29,195 as a possible retest of this S1 line. Another area of interest here would be looking to actually come back into the previous daily low, which would be here towards this 29,145. So going to be keeping an eye on that idea that if we see price come into this zone, we could see a retest of that area. Now, if we do look to lose this S1 line, what we have as other targets to the downside would be this 28,614. We have this 28,119 and this level of this 27,524 as a possible target. Now, coming over here and having a look at the weekly CPR lines, what we can see is that we are now currently back above these central lines. So if we do look to move to the downside here, potentially we could look to find support sitting on these lines. So these lines could offer us support between this 29,312 to this 29,168 if we're going to see that support come in here and look for continuation to the upside. We have hit this R1 line already, and what I want to see here is if we do manage to flip this into support, then this could align with that idea of starting to see that extension. Other targets to the upside for this week is this 30,701. We have this 31,358 as potential targets to the upside. If we do see price come back to the downside here and we start to lose these central lines and turn these into resistance, potentially what we could see to the downside this week is this 28,430, 27,773, and the 26,979 as possible targets for this week. So these would only really align with coming back down here if we are looking at either that C wave down or potentially that A, B, and a C looking to push us back down into some of these lower zones. Going to be watching them as potential support zones on the way down. We can see on the monthly that we're actually starting to interact with these central lines, which is a good sign initially. Now, what I want to see here is whether we continue to hold this lower line at this 29,584. If we do hold this level, we could see price starting to move to the upside. Other targets that could offer us resistance would be this 29,976. We have this 30,337 as potential rejection zones directly above us. If we do manage to flip these into support, potentially we could see price be gravitated towards this 31,073 as an upside target for this month. All these higher ones here of this 32,901 to this 34,013 level. If we do see price actually looking to reject to the downside from here, what we could see is support come in at this 28,133 or this 27,034 area. If we do see that's lower target come in, this is actually sitting towards this 25,167 and would align with that idea of that bigger 5-wave breakdown. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.